Hey everyone, Tom from Big Rock Trees. Short video today. We want to go over descriptions of our cuttings and what you can expect for growth rates. Again, that varies with soil conditions, sunlight, moisture. We always recommend putting fabric down, but we know that's not feasible in all situations. Those type of things will influence your growth rate, but here's what we've experienced. Starting with our hybrid willow tree, in 5 years, you could expect it to be 40 feet tall with a 3 to 5 inch trunk diameter. Generally, there's 3 main trunks that come off the hybrid willow. It's branchy down low, holds its leaves into November. As far as deer protection, maybe in the first year, you may protect it just so it doesn't get nibbled off early on. But after that, the deer tend not to browse on it, and the bucks stay away from rubbing it just because it is so branchy. Next up, we have our hybrid poplar. The hybrid poplar you can expect to be 40 feet tall in 5 years, 3 to 5 inch trunk diameter. After the first year, you can expect 1 inch of trunk diameter each year. The hybrid poplar has large leaves. It loses them end of October, maybe early November, so it doesn't provide a screen as late as some of our willow varieties. The hybrid poplar you will have to protect. We use a planter grow tube. It protects it both from deer browse and rubbing. It seems to work very well to keep the growth shooting out the top and protect the cutting at the same time. The hybrid poplar will work great if you're trying to add some browse bedding cover. It also works in tight spacing, so you can use it as a screen along your property line. Alright, next we have our 2 most popular varieties of shrubs, the Silky willow and dappled willow. They have very similar growth rates. You can expect a 4 to 8 foot footprint, 8 to 12 feet tall in 5 years at maturity. You could expect a screen of double staggered rows of these shrubs to fill in as little as 2 years to create a screen or a sight block. They work great under power lines because if they do get mowed down, they're going to come back the next year, unlike our trees. The differences between these 2 cuttings, the dappled willow you're going to want to protect in at least the first 2 years. The deer will browse on it heavy. We like to use more of a cage so that the shrub can fill out. After 2 years, generally the root base is strong enough that when the deer browse on it, it'll come back the following season. Our Silky willow is real popular because the deer and rabbits tend not to browse on it. It fills in quickly. You could use this for food plot splitting, creating a corridor to walk in, just making bedding pockets. Again, without the deer browsing on it, it does establish a little faster. Alright, next we have our red osier dogwood. Very popular for deer habitat. The deer really love to browse on that one. It makes it a little bit more difficult to establish. It's also hard to protect because the red osier dogwood needs to have wet feet. I wouldn't recommend planting this out in areas that are not wet. It just does not tend to do well. When you do plant it in those wetter areas, if you can protect it, that would help it establish, get a good root base. Some people like to overplant and just use numbers to increase. A lot of times it's also hard to use any type of ground cover with the red osier dogwood, just the nature of the swamps. We do have this same cutting in 2 footers so that you could get 18 inches in the ground. Ideally, that would allow it to establish a bigger, better root base in the first season. Also, that cutting's a little thicker. You could just about push them right in the ground and walk along. Alright, last we have our yellow twig dogwood. The yellow twig tends to fill in quicker than the red osier. The deer don't browse on it quite as heavy. It is more tolerant to wetter soils. You could expect either of these shrubs to do very well for wildlife habitat improvement. They also work well for ornamental shrubs in your yard or along the property as they hold these bright colors throughout the season. So the unique characteristics of each of our cuttings will be able to help you improve your wildlife habitat or create a screen on your property. As always, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And this week, to be entered in our drawing for 25 free cuttings, like and share the post of this video on our Facebook page. Thanks for watching.